Hi students, Miss Vernon here with a lesson 5.5a. Today we'll be talking about inequalities in one variable. One variable just means we're not going to have an x and a y. We'll just have one variable like x or s. We don't have to stick with x and y either. Our essential question for today's focus is how can I write one variable inequalities of real world situations? You'd be surprised at how many times we use the phrase for this, but don't make the connection that it's really an inequality that we're representing. Our second essential question will be how can I graph these solutions specifically on a number line? All right, let's go ahead and get started. What is an inequality? It is a statement that compares a value to a number. So a statement that one quantity is less than or greater than another. Now, the biggest struggle I find that students have with this is that we often get confused about what each of the symbols means and what words could represent them. So here are our four inequalities that we typically use. Words that we can use to describe them are, the first one is less than. And words that describe the less than that might be used in a sentence would be below, fewer than, smaller. All right, that is the symbol less than. All right, the next one is less than or equal to. So that little line under it means or equal to. So that means it could be that value or it could be anything that fell below it. Some words that describe this one are no more than, or at most. At most is one that students sometimes forget about. So just be careful not to forget about the at most. So this is your less than or equal to. Now the less than symbol, just a quick tip, is your left hand. If you turn it outside, you can kind of see an L, a capital L in the right direction. All right, the next symbol that we have is greater than. So greater than, some words that might represent that. What do you think? Hopefully you said words like above or more than. And then obviously sometimes they just use greater than. All right, and the last one that we have is greater than or equal to. And that again has that line under it. So that's why we say it's or equal to. And some words that represent this could be at least, a minimum of. All right, so those are just some words that sometimes we see in these phrases that we will be looking at. All right, couple quick reminders is remember that an inequality sign always opens to the larger side. So it's kind of like that idea of you have your alligator mouth. Think all the way back to elementary school. This is my attempt at an alligator mouth. It kind of looks a little bit like a dinosaur, but we'll go with it. So the inequality, though, is going to be the one that opens up to the better deal or the better scenario. So here we have a couple more ideas using these words. We have less than. As you read left to right, the item on the left is smaller than the item on the right. a greater than symbol would be, as you read from left to right, the item on the left is larger than the one on the right. Okay, so in the first one, y is less than 5, or y, and then our less than symbol 5. And then the one on the left hand or right hand side is x is greater than 6, or x is greater than 6, with the opening up that direction. All right, let's take a look at example A. Example A we'll do together, and then example B, I'm going to pause and let you give it a try. So in example A, we're just going to write a statement using that inequality sign, and we're going to be looking specifically at the words that they use in the problem. So the first one is read, x is less than 7. Well, in this one, it tells us use that less than symbol, and x is less than 7. So that one kind of told us the answer. Let's look at the next one. R is greater than. Again, they used the word greater than, so we know that it's the greater than symbol, 10. Okay. Y is greater than or equal to. All right, greater than or equal to has the little line under it, and it said y was greater than or equal to -4. M is less than or equal to. So less than makes the L, if you look kind of a little bit creatively at it. So M is less than or equal to 5. All right, next one. F is at least. All right, so we got to think about, what does the word at least mean? Does it mean it can be more than it, or does it mean it can be less than it? Well, hopefully you said at least means more than, which means greater than. So it's anything that's bigger than it. So F is greater than or at least 7. But it could also equal it, because again, at least means we have 7, but we could have more. Last one we'll do together. H is no more than 1. So no more than tells us that it could equal 1, but it can't be more than it. So it has to be less than or equal to 1. I find it's really helpful to underline or circle or just make the words that you're considering really big and bold in your brain so that you can process them. All right, I'm going to read the next statements out loud, and I'm going to have you try to write your answers down. And then after you've written all your answers, we will check to see how you did. All right, number 1, I need to drink at least 6 glasses of water a day. So again, if I were guiding you through this, I would probably underline the word at least. All right, I'm going to read the next one. I should store milk at a temperature below 40 degrees. So again, I'm underlining the words that I would use as key words as I'm considering what to do. All right, number 3, I should eat snacks with 50 or fewer calories. And last, number 4, I need to spend at most $10 on my white elephant gift. All right, hopefully you wrote down your answers. Let's check and see how you did. So I need to drink at least 6 glasses of water a day. You might have G is greater than or equal to 6. If you had a different variable, don't worry about that. That's okay. I should store milk at a temperature below 40 degrees. Your temperature should be less than 40 degrees. I should eat snacks with 50 or fewer calories. My calories should be less than or equal to 50. Fewer. And then the last one, I need to spend at most $10 on a white elephant gift. My gift should be less than or equal to $10. At most means I can spend $10, but I shouldn't spend anything more than that. How'd you do? I hope you did a great job on this. Let's move on to the next page. All right, so on the next page, we're going to be looking at the inequalities again, but now we're going to be looking at it from the graphing standpoint. So the first question we ask you at the top of this part is, how do we graph an inequality? And basically, we're going to always use a number line. So you're going to use a number line. The number line, if you draw them by hand, doesn't have to have every number filled in. Don't stress about that. And you're going to either use a solid dot if it's going to be the ones that are or equal to. I like to remember this, the little extra line means I need to color in the inside of it. And then you're going to use an open dot if it doesn't. So an open dot would look like this, and then a solid dot would be like this, and then we'd fill it in. We'd get to do a little bit of doodle coloring. All right, let's take a look. The last two examples we have for you today. The first one is us writing the inequality from the number line, and then the second one is us graphing it. So in this one, because it has an open circle, I know that it's not going to be or equal to, and I like to write my variable first. And I want to represent everything that is greater than. So I'm going to put a greater than symbol, and I'm going to put in my -2. I'm using the -2 because that's where the open circle is. Now, one of the ways you can check if you wrote this correctly is if you plugged in a number that was on your number line, for example, like 6, it should give me a true statement. And what I mean by a true statement is the alligator eating the larger number? And in this case, 6 is the bigger number, so it is indeed doing that. So that's just like a quick little check I like to do in my head. I don't always write it down because it's not the answer, it's just me doing the check. All right, on the next one, I see a closed-in circle, so that means it's going to be the or equal to, and it's anything that is less than. So I'm going to use the less than or equal to, and I'm going to put the 1. And again, I'm just going to grab a number. Is -7 less than or equal to 1? And it is. So we're good to go there. All right, pause. Give the next one a try, and then we'll check it together. All right. Did you get x is less than -2? I hope so, because that means you're really starting to get this. Now, some students like to make the connection that the inequality points the direction the arrow does. This connection only works if the variable is coming first. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So let's take a look at, I have just a few more examples for us. This time we're going to be doing the graphing. So when we go to graph on a number line, the first thing you're going to want to do is identify the number and to identify if it's going to be an open or closed. So because this is our inequality, at 3, I'm going to put a closed-in circle. Now, I want to shade over the top of the numbers that will make the alligator eat the better deal. And in this case, I'm going to shade over the numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7 because they're larger. And the alligator always wants to eat the better or the spot that has a greater amount. All right, let's try the next one. M is less than 6. So again, I look at this symbol and that tells me it's an open circle. So at 6, I'm going to put an open circle. And I'm concerned about the stuff that is smaller than 6. Well, smaller than 6 is the numbers over here. So I'm going to draw an arrow extending that direction. All right, go ahead and think, are you going to use an open or closed circle for the next one? All right, hopefully you said you were going to use a closed circle because it is or equal to. And then this is all the numbers that are smaller than it again. So we're going to go ahead and draw the arrow going to the left. All right, would you use an open or closed circle for number 4? Hopefully you said an open circle. And this is read, V is greater than 0. So we're going to go ahead and extend it over the numbers that are larger than 0. All right, moving on to number 5. -2 is less than z. All right, start with the type of circle. Is it open or closed? This one you should have said was open. Now, when it's written in this direction, I like to just think about which numbers are going to give the alligator the stuff they want. Definitely not the numbers that are smaller, so we're going to extend it over the top of the numbers that are larger. All right, and last but not least, are we going to use an open or closed circle on this one? Hopefully you set a closed-in circle, so I'm going to shade in the inside. And then I want the alligator, I want 1 to be the better deal, which means I need to shade over the top of the negative side of the number line because those are going to be smaller than it. That one was red. 1 is greater than or equal to k. All right, at the bottom, there are some extra questions here just for some processing questions. Feel free to answer those if you would like to. Otherwise, they do show up on your summaries as well. It's a great way to review and recap the material. I hope today's lesson made sense, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.